All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started so that way I can respect your time and get you all wrapped up and it's time to move on with the rest of your evening. So what I'm going to do is first off introduce myself. My name is Tim Townsend. I'm the Youth Activities Manager and I oversee P.A.S.S Camp. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen in a moment and I'm going to go over a PowerPoint that just kind of lists out and shares a lot of the changes that we've made for this summer. If you have questions along the way, feel free to throw those into the chat. I will pause before moving on to other slides to make sure that if it's something that we need to address right away, I'll go ahead and do that so that way you all have all the questions answered and hopefully feel great about coming back on Monday for camp. So if you just give me a second, I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, and if you have any issues with hearing me or anything like that, again, same thing, just throw it into the chat and then I'll take it from there. And yeah, let's get started. All right, so first thing, before coming to camp every day, this is probably the biggest thing that you'll need to just be ready for because this will be required daily and it's our visitor screening form. This form cannot be filled out the night before. It has to be filled out within 2 hours of arriving at camp. So in the morning while you're getting ready for camp or waking up and kind of getting ready for the day, go ahead and fill out that form. This link will be sent out tomorrow when you get your team assignments and your team pick up and drop off information, things like that. So go ahead and bookmark it because it's going to become your best friend for the whole 5 days that you're here next week and more if you're coming back for additional weeks. So that visitor screening form is pivotal into allowing you into making sure that you do get access to being dropped off in the morning. So in a moment, I'll get to another screen where I'll kind of go over how to fill it out and more information about that. But I just want to start off talking about it because that's definitely the biggest thing that we definitely won't be requiring all families to come. And that's a big change from last summer if you've been here before. So that form will ask pre-qualifying questions, and basically it will ask questions like, have you been out of town in the last 14 days? If you have, we do have a policy here university-wide that even staff and anybody who's coming into a program here, that if you have been out of state, you will have to self-quarantine with your family before you are allowed on campus. So if you may have been gone last weekend or even last week, that would impact your attending camp. So if you do have questions about that and want to talk about that, if you have traveled, please message me privately or email me and we can walk through that. But it will ask you that question every day. Another question it will ask you is if you've been around anyone who has come back with a positive COVID test. That will also impact your being allowed to come to camp. If you have, or if it's been so many degrees or anything like that, you're just curious, let me know. We can find out for you to let you know if it will impact your attending camp. Now, the part of the survey that kind of throws people off every day is probably right here. It's going to ask you the name and email address of who you're coming to visit on campus. Just list Richie for the first name, Center for the last name, and then the email that you want this to go back to is recreation@du.edu. We've been finding a lot of people will put .org, .com, things like that. So if you could just remember recreation@du.edu, you're golden. It'll make your time so much faster of getting dropped off and all that good stuff. Now it will ask you what building and room number you're visiting. The building is Ritchie Center, and the room number, you can just list P.A.S.S Camp. And then once you fill out that area, it'll ask you if your participant is under 18, select yes, and then you will fill out some more information, which I'll kind of show you an example on the next screen. So this is the form, and believe it or not, we actually get a lot of forms where the parents fill out their name twice. And so I thought it would be helpful just to kind of show you that the first block of names is add the camper's first name and last name, then your information. Then you'll select the box that you are a legal guardian for someone who's under 18, and then you'll list your name. And so just remember that, and that will help us in the morning of keeping it really quick for you and not having to have you pull in and park and do another survey, because if you do it under your name, unfortunately, we still have to have you do another one because we need it under the camper's name. So it's really important just to remember that first area for names, that's the camper, because that's who's coming to campus, and then you'll add your own later. All right, camp prep. So we have a list of things that I want to go over and just make sure we all are on the same page for whenever you're packing for camp each day next week. Due to everything that's kind of going on with new rules and regulations, we are requiring that you all pack quite a bit more than you have maybe in the past. And so first things first is please pack a filled water bottle. Only your child will be using it. We do not allow sharing whatsoever. Pack an extra face mask. They're already going to have one on, so it's really great to pass a second one. So that way, if for some reason they drop it, it gets dirty, it gets sweaty, anything like that, they have a backup that they can use. We will have some on site that we can give out if we need to, though we prefer to have you pack them so that we're not using so many disposable masks, things like that. Pack a bottle of sunscreen that only your child can apply. We are not providing sunscreen this summer because we can't do any sharing whatsoever. And so we are asking that you all pack your own sunscreen, something that your child can easily put on. If they are younger, a spray is ideal because it seems to be easier for them to get on rather than a lotion. So I highly recommend that if you can. Lotions are not out of the question, but whatever works best for your child. And then we also ask that you provide your own bottle of hand sanitizer that your child can apply throughout the day. We will still have some. All of our coaches will have a bottle that they can use to give campers, but we prefer that you also have one in there just in case for some reason surprisingly, some campers hate the smell of ours actually. So you might want to pack one that may smell better. It may be more enticing for them to put on. Pack a change of clothes in case for some reason, like I said, we are outside a lot, so we might get sweaty. We might do a water activity. So it's just good to have a change of clothes in case they do need to change for any reason. Pack all necessary equipment. They will be swimming, so a swimsuit and towel, a helmet if they're 8 years old and under, that is required to ice skate. So I'll say it again just to make sure, 8 years old and under are all required for ice skating helmets, and that could be a bike helmet or a skating helmet, whatever you have. And then I know that we have some major ice skaters out there that come to camp. If they have their own skates, they're more than welcome to bring those. Just know that they will be carrying them around all day, so it could be a little heavy, so send an appropriate bag for them. Now for the food. So please pack at least minimum 2 snacks, one for the morning and one for the afternoon. If you know that your camper gets a little bit hungrier throughout the day, they burn through that, then maybe pack a couple extras. And then also pack a lunch. And it needs to be something that you think would get your camper through the day. So that way by the afternoon, we're not sending them home to you all grumpy and starving. So packing a nice good lunch that they can have and make sure that they're ready for all the activities we're doing. So the backpack that you're gonna send, water bottle, sunscreen, hand sanitizer, lunch box, all equipment, please, please, please label any and everywhere. We've already had a couple things in Lost and Found that didn't have a clear label, and so I don't know how I can get them back to somebody, and they're just kind of hanging out. So if you label it, it's really easy for me to reach out to you and say, hey, so-and-so has left their water bottle here. I'm going to leave it out or get it to you the next day, things like that. If you are putting that label on sunscreen and hand sanitizer, a little pro tip is to use a regular label, but then also take some Scotch tape or packing tape and put it over it, because that hand sanitizer and sunscreen seems to smear names pretty often. So if you can do that just to cover it so we can make sure that it's labeled, and again, if it's lost, we can get it back to you so that way you're not having to buy another jar or bottle, excuse me. All right, arriving at camp. So this year, we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. We're going to have 2 group drop-off and pickup times. So tomorrow, you'll get an email with all the activities that they'll be doing at camp and also what team they'll be on, along with what drop-off group they're in. Group A they are a 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. drop-off time with a 3:30 to 4:30 window for pickup. Group B is 8:45 to 9:15 for their drop-off, and then they're 4:15 to 4:45 for pickup. So again, you'll get this information tomorrow. It's really crucial to please stay within your window and do not drop off early or pick up late. If you do, this year we are going to have a pretty strict late check-in or early drop-off fee of $2.50 per minute per family. And we do that because we have to sanitize and clean and get our groups moving with our rotations throughout the day, and late drop-offs, that kind of throws a snag in that. And then also with our late pickups, we're already kind of getting ready for the second group if they're in A and things like that. So please make sure that you do pick up and drop off within those windows. If you are carpooling, we are not encouraging that, just to limit any interaction and keep any sickness from spreading. If you do carpool, you are assuming that risk, and be prepared that we may not be able to accommodate everyone's request for the same drop-off and pickup times. I'm going to check the chat real quick and see if we have any questions. I think we're looking good right now. All right. Arriving at camp. So when you do get to camp, you've already done your health screening form ahead of time and you're ahead of the game. So when you get here, make sure that you and your camper or campers are all wearing a face mask when you pull in, and then you're going to report to lot T. If you've been here in the past, it's the same lot that you parked in for P.A.S.S camp previously. If you haven't, you'll just turn off of High or University on Asbury, and then the tennis pavilion is located about midway through, and lot T is underneath. You don't need a parking pass this year because we'll be doing a curbside drop-off and pickup. And so you'll pull up, a staff member will greet you. They will confirm that we have received your health screening form. If they have not, then they will ask you to park in the lot, and they will help assist you to fill out that form and make sure that we do get it submitted. And then as soon as we know that you're all good with the forms and all that good stuff, you'll be directed down to the drop-off and pickup area where you can drop off your child. You don't even have to get out of the car. It's actually encouraged that you don't get out of the car, so we're not having a lot of people in the spaces. But your staff member will come up, meet your child, and then help get them out of the car, and then send them to where they need to meet their teams. We will check your temperature before they leave the area of the car to make sure that they do not have a temperature of 100.4 degrees or higher. One second. Or showing any form of symptoms of illness that go along with COVID-19. If for some reason your camper does have a temperature of 100 degrees 0.4 or higher or show any illness symptoms, they will be asked not to come to camp that day. And then they will need to self-quarantine before they do come back and make sure that they are all clear before they can come back and attend camp. Once they get out of the car and completed all of this, like I said, a staff member will escort them to the tennis pavilion where they'll meet their team, have a morning snack, and then start their day. If you're dropping off a medication, there will be a designated spot that you can do that, and we can go over that with you when you do drop off that medication. And then afterwards, you'll just follow the signage out of the parking structure and then go on about your day. And again, just another reminder here, please make sure that you stay within your window of your drop-off windows. 8 to 8:30 if you're in Group A, excuse me, 8:45 to 9:15 if you're Group B, and then your pickups we'll get back to later, but again, 3:30 to 4 if you're A, 4:15 to 4:45 if you're B. All right, so camp procedures. So throughout the camp day, all campers are required to wear a face mask the entire day, all times when they're on campus. Everyone here is required, even staff, to be in masks. That's why I was mentioning earlier to please pack an extra just in case they lose it, or maybe their little around ear piece falls off, stuff like that. We've already seen that, so it'd be great just to have that extra on hand in case. Even our staff here at camp will be filling out a mandatory health screening every day, just as same as you're doing for your camper. And then we'll be promoting physical distancing the entire day. Again, make sure you send that water bottle. The only times that campers are allowed to take masks off are during water breaks when eating snack and lunch, and they are allowed to tell their coach if they are having any issues at all, and they will be able to step away from the group to get their breath, whatever they need to do, but they have to come back with their mask on. They're not allowed to take it off during activities. Campers will be placed on a small group of 10 campers, and they'll stay only with those 10 campers the entire day and week. And also with their coach, they'll have one, maybe two coaches, and those coaches will only be with that group. So if your kid is on Team Crimson, they will only be with Team Crimson the entire week. They will not be allowed to play any games with any other teams throughout the day, and then they will not allowed to be switched either. So we're trying to make sure that we're following the rules that we get from our state licensing and health department by keeping those small groups, but then also making sure that we're not risking any contamination, things like that. We are going to prioritize outdoor activities. So again, that's why that water bottle is so crucial. We will be doing very often doing water breaks to make sure that they are all set and making sure they're getting that water to stay healthy through all day. We will be teaching them COVID prevention measures, including good hygiene, hand washing, what to do if you cough or sneeze, things like that. We'll be kind of guiding them to make sure they understand why they need to do that and the importance. And then throughout the day, they'll have several transitions before and after every activity to wash hands and use the bathroom and drink water. For those of you who joined us a little late, just a heads up, you can throw anything into the chat and I can answer any questions you may have. All right, so soap and water is not readily available. If it's in the middle of an activity, hand sanitizer will be given to them that they can use, or they can grab it out of their bag as one of those things that you're sending with them every day that they can use instead of going to wash their hands, but we will do our best to make sure we get them to the bathroom to wash their hands with soap and water. We've increased our own sanitation and disinfecting procedures at all camp locations. Everything that is basically touched by a camper will be disinfected and cleaned before another camper or another team comes through to ensure that we are being on top of keeping everything clean and ready for everybody to participate in activities. When they do get to locations, campers' backpacks will be separated from others, and they'll be placed in individual areas so that way they are not being close to each other and avoiding any cross-contamination. Campers will need to bring their own lunch, like I said earlier, and then they'll eat in a designated area with their group, and they'll sit 6 feet apart in a circle, not allowed to sit next to their friends directly, but at least close enough by 6 feet to be able to talk to them and have their lunch and take a break. We are going to be on a heightened alert for symptoms and enforcing a more stringent sick policy to avoid having any sick campers with any potential contagious symptoms at P.A.S.S camp this summer. So essentially, if for some reason your camper comes here and they're feeling ill, we are going to call you directly and ask that you come and pick them up as soon as you can. We're trying to make sure that we do not have them around other campers and spreading any illnesses while they're here throughout the day. Campers with symptoms of illness, they'll be brought to a designated area that we have at the Stapleton Tennis Pavilion, our nurse room, if you will, where we have a place that has a restroom in it along with a cot that they can lay down and rest until parents are able to come and pick up. It's important that we have the contact info for you so we can call you directly. If we can't get a hold of you, we will go through and call every contact we have until we get a hold of someone, just because it's just so important to make sure they are picked up within 30 minutes. As soon as they are done in that med room, we do sanitize and clean it to make sure it is completely disinfected before anyone else goes into that room. I'll get to this in a moment, but a staff member will be present with them. We do not leave them alone, but they will be having access to any protective clothing that they can wear to ensure that they are not exposed either. Oh, just said it, I'm ahead of myself. We do have a nurse that we consult with, and she is available the entire camp day to walk us through any illness or injury that may come up. So if we are having that issue and we do need to address it with her, then we'll reach out to her and she'll kind of guide us if we need to, but we still have that 30-minute window that you are required to come and pick them up. Campers with symptoms will be excluded from P.A.S.S camp until at least 72 hours after they no longer have a fever, without using any fever-reducing medication, and 10 days have passed since their first symptom. If a camper is injured outside of any kind of medical sickness, anything like that, if it's an injury, we will do similar. They'll be escorted to a space where they can rest. We'll be going down and calling all parents. If it is something a bit more serious of an injury, we will, if they have to be escorted to a hospital, and if a parent can't come here, we will call and have an ambulance take them. They will be escorted with a staff, or we'll make sure a parent does come and get them and have them escorted to getting care. I just saw something come into the chat, so I'm going to check that really quick. Good question. Will kids be wearing masks during swimming? No, they will not. So during swim time, they are allowed to take their masks off. So when they change and get ready, they'll be placing those masks in their bag. And then when they get done, they'll get back and get changed and put them back on. That is another good reason. That's why we need to send an extra mask. We've had a couple masks get thrown into the pool on accident. And so it's good to have that backup just in case for some reason that does happen. All right, checkout. So checkout procedures, it's very similar to drop off. You will come to lot T. We'll have a staff member greet you, and they will ask for your ID to make sure you are an authorized pickup. And once that is done, you'll be able to pull through. We will call that camper down, and then they will be escorted to your car, and they will be able to hop in with you and then head out for the day. So pretty simple. I've had a lot of great feedback from parents on that. I think they really love not having to park and walk all over campus to pick up their campers. So that's gone really well so far. But just remember your pickup times. Please do not pick up before your time or after your time. Say, for example, you have a camper who does have a doctor's appointment or maybe something else going on. You are welcome to reach out to myself or another camp staff that morning. Let us know, and we can arrange for early pickups. It's more of the showing up early without notifying us where the early pickup fee will come into play. Say, for example, you have the 4:15 pickup slot that you want to pick up at 3:45. Unfortunately, that's where we can't accommodate that unless it's something that you run by us as a one-time thing prior to. But yes, like I said, same thing. If for some reason you do need that, reach out, let us know. But then you'll pick up your camper and then follow the signs out of the lot and be on your way. Just a disclaimer, the Ritchie Center may refuse participation in future sessions to participants who do not follow staff instructions or otherwise violate health and safety measures, i.e. you must wear a mask as soon as you pull onto campus. So when you're coming through for pickup, have that mask on as a parent, so that way we're not exposing anyone and you're protecting yourself and others. While at camp throughout the day, we'll be going over our camp rules, schedule of the day, hydration, the importance of our face masks and why we use them, ways to make sure that we're ensuring physical distancing practices and why they're important. We do that with them every morning before they even start their day. I lead that myself personally. And then we kind of go through the importance of hand washing and what we need to do if they're coughing or sneezing. We also make sure they understand what to do if they are feeling sick. And so they come to us and make sure that we get them the care they need. Throughout the day, they will rotate from location to location and do their activities. We are choosing activities that are more easily planned for social distancing. I'll show you an example schedule in just a moment and kind of how we'll be doing that. They'll be escorted throughout the Ritchie Center with our staff, and then as they move through venue to venue. They'll have designated backpack storage, and then they'll have their activity and related equipment there ready to go. Any shared equipment, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but the same thing, it'll be clean and disinfected between uses to make sure that each group, if they do have to share something, it is completely disinfected before another one touches it. We have markings at every spot that they'll be in that identify where they need to be to ensure that they are 6 feet apart. Again, before and after every activity, we will be dedicating time to restroom use for hand washing, water bottle refills, sunscreen, things like that. Here's a quick example of the activities that we'll be doing and kind of the rotation schedule. As you can see, there are some layouts of our courts and how we have them marked off for all of our campers. we have enough space at every part of the facility to make sure that they are very well distanced and not getting near each other throughout the day. All right, so while at camp, if you are doing lacrosse and say one of your campers is a diehard lacrosse player, wants to bring their own stick, that is totally fine, and we encourage that. However, I do just want to be honest that they will be carrying it around all day, and so make sure that they know that they need to be responsible and keep up with it, and that we're not responsible if they decide to horseplay with it, maybe have it broken, things like that. And so just make sure that they are ready for that kind of responsibility throughout their camp day. And like I said, all of our other equipment that is shared, it is clean and disinfected. Our lunch, we will have each camper spaced out 6 feet across from each other, and then we stagger those to avoid any mingling among any other groups whatsoever. They'll eat lunch at the Ritchie Center West Deck, which is outdoors and shaded. It's really nice. It's right under the Gold Tower at the Ritchie Center, and it's been a really awesome opportunity to have it there because it's nice and shaded and cool, and I think the campers have really enjoyed it as well. If we have any inclement weather, the Session 1 groups will go to Gates Field House for safety, and then the Session 2 groups will go to Magnus Arena Concourse for any safety if we do run into some severe storms. Cleaning and disinfection, this is just a glimpse at what we are doing on our end to make sure that everything is being clean. We use Virex 2, we use a spray and towels to make sure that we disinfect every space that we use. And so basically we have staff that go in, they'll spray it all down. We won't let anybody go in there for 15 minutes or more to ensure that it definitely disinfects everything it's touching. And then we have a schedule that we do that throughout the day to ensure that our restrooms, equipment, everything that is being touched is being disinfected. All drinking fountains are closed. We have water stations set up everywhere. Campers will not be allowed to use the water stations. Staff will manage those. So that way they put on their glove, they touch the spout to make sure that no one else is touching it, and then they fill water bottles. And then hand washing, like I said earlier, is we have it spaced out so many times throughout the day that we are trying very hard to stay on top of washing our hands with soap and water. We do have PPE available for employees, like gloves and masks that we can give them. Again, campers are going to be required to wear their mask that you are sending. If they are having that impact from heat or any kind of exertion, then we will give them a break, but we will ask that they join the group with their mask back on. All right, so I know that's a lot of information. So if there are any questions, I'll kind of open it up for that in these last couple minutes. Feel free to share out if you'd like, or you can send it to the chat. I've got that open. So if you do want to send any of those questions over, feel free. I always like to say, if you're thinking it, odds are there are probably a few other people who might have that same question. So feel free to throw anything out right now. All right, let's look here. All right, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Lots of good information. We're excited for next week. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, if you walk away from here today, feel free to email me or email recreation@du.edu, and they'll get it to me. And I'll get you whatever you need to make sure you feel fully prepared. We're really excited. It was really boring before camp got approved. It's so nice to have everybody here. These past 3 weeks have been awesome. Tiring, but awesome. It's just good to feel normal. So
yeah,
get everybody
cool.
back. So
yeah, the kids are excited. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Hey, Tim, one quick question for me.
Yeah.
Are you going to be sending these slides around? Because I can't promise I committed all this to memory.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is in the email you're going to get tomorrow with all of your assignments for your team and all that good stuff, there will be a link to this Zoom. So you're welcome to look through that. And I think that they also add the deck in there as well.
Okay.
And then the same thing, it's a long email. Take some time, just make sure you read over it.
Okay.
All that will be in there.
Okay, and then Andrew is my little guy with the healing broken arm. If he's like not doing, if he can't really participate, I think he'll be fine. But will you just call me? Is that how you want to handle it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll call you right away. So yeah, we'll get in touch real quick and make sure that you are on the same page with us.
Okay. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think he'll be fine, but just feel free.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure thing.
All right. Thanks, Tim. I'm gonna take off. Appreciate your
right.
time.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Any questions on our last two before we wrap up? Feel free to throw them out there if you have anything.
I do not have a question, but thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good rest of your night.
You too.
All right. Martha, is there anything that you need?
No, I was trying to prep for dinner and we